Today's walk is to walk another section of the Pennine Way. The section I'll be doing will be from Blackhill to Standedge. I'm starting the walk at Standedge, which is really at the end of the route, so I've got to get to the start, which is Blackhill. The obvious way to do this is to follow the old Pennine Way route over to Blackhill. It's quite blustery up here and storms are forecast later on in the day, so it'd be nice to get as much of the walk done as possible while it's still dry. It's feels quite mild but very breezy, and if it can keep like this for most of my walk, I'll be well satisfied. Over to my left is Pewell Hill overlooking Marsden. And it's hard to believe, but several hundred feet below me run a railway tunnel and a canal. And I think the canal tunnel's one of the longest in this country, if not the longest. The first objective is Black Moss Reservoir, and that's where the old and new routes of the Pennine Way meet, or split, depending on which way you're going. So it's at this point now we're going to head over open moor, heading towards Blackhill. Well, we get a view of Black Moss Reservoir now, and I've been on paving stones all the way up from that last footpath sign. So that's been quite easy going. However, things are going to change dramatically now, as the route over to Blackhill using the old route won't be paved, it'll just be bog. And the old route, we're going to be going to the right of the reservoir. And here we are where the old and new paths diverge. The nice paved path to the left, which will be our return journey, and straight on over boggy moorland. Well, so far so good. The path is quite distinct and it's quite firm underfoot, this section, as we've climbed up from the reservoir. There's a couple of curlew flopping about in front. Well, this is a bit of a surprise. The path's got even better. I'm on a paved section now as I head over towards White Moss, so I have to see how long this paving lasts for. Perhaps it'll take us all the way to the road. Unfortunately, the rain has arrived early. I've only done 2 miles and there's a bit of light rain, so just hope it doesn't develop into anything more serious. Well, we're heading over Ferry the Bed Moss now to the main road, which is the A635, and we'll be can't be more than a mile away from there, but it looks like they're doing some work around here. But this has been really easy, and if the paving carries on to the main road, this will be well, I can't imagine it being much better coming back on the official route. Well, as we reach the top of Feather Bed Moss, I can see the road ahead, the cars on the road, and see Blackhill in the distance. Now I think the next section from the road to Blackhill is not going to be anywhere as easy as this. When Wainwright was writing his Pennine Way Companion, this used to be the main route, and the other route, which is now the official route, used to be an alternative. But I can imagine what it must have been like in his day, when we didn't have any kind of paving stones like we have now, and you've got to kind of negotiate wetness like that. Well, we're at the road now. You can see the sign Saddleworth over to my right, and a view over to Saddleworth Moors, made infamous by the Moors murderers. Well, I've walked up the road 100 yards or so. There's a track here which I intend this is what I'm going to follow. I think this is an old disused quarry, just been passed by a runner, so perhaps he can do a bit of route finding for me. Well, there's no paving on this side, but we do have little cairns to guide us along, which is very useful. Well, I get a better view of Black Hill ahead now. I can see a line of posts to follow, and I can just see the runner ahead as well. It's just disappeared down now, out of sight. The terrain changes now when we get these groughs, and the ground is quite soft in the bottom of them, but the going's not too bad at the moment, so I can't complain. As long as I can keep on the route and not get lost, should be okay. Oh, the weather's turned a bit unpleasant now, and there looks like the rain's coming in, so I was hoping I could get to Black Hill before this happened, but no such luck. I found a stile here. I can cross this fence and start making a more direct line to Black Hill. It's like a roller coaster of a ride up and down these groughs and climbing the peat tags. I've lost the path. I've lost the path for a few hundred metres now. Having said that, I can see a bit of a cairn ahead, so perhaps I'm getting back on the line again. This rain doesn't help though. I assume this is a little grouse chick or something. Well, that's where I've just come from. Got it totally wrong. Ended knee deep in bog at some bits, but yeah, that wasn't pleasant. So the weather doesn't help, but hopefully as we get higher now, see if we can keep a bit drier. Hurrah! I've managed to pick the path back up again. Just hope it doesn't disappear. Well, another cairn there. Can't be too far now from Black Hill, thank goodness. Can't see it, but the terrain's flattening out. Well, here we are, Black Hill at last. Made a right mess of that last bit. I really did pick some wet patches to walk through. Anyway, that part is now left, so I've got the summit to myself. Well, here I am at the summit of Black Hill. That party that was there when he arrived, they've now disappeared off. Down the route that I came up. My route back is going to be down the official Pennine Way, so I'm going to hope that it's going to be easy walking now. Done 5.5 miles. Should be probably about 6 to go. Well, this first section here is the path I used let me see, a couple of weeks ago when I was doing my home moss walk, when I came up from the home valley. Well, this week I can at least see the transmitter, so visibility is a lot better. Well, I get a view now down to home. I can just see Bilberry Reservoir path across the moor, which I used a couple of weeks ago, and Issues Road on the right hand side, and that was my home moss Ramsden Clough walk. Well, I can see where we're heading to. We're going to head and cross the road again, but we've got a mile or so to do before we get there. Well, this is the sign for the diversion if the weather's bad and you don't fancy crossing Dean Clough. Anyway, we're going to go down to Dean Clough and just see what it's like. Well, this is Dean Clough. Doesn't look like there were any difficulties crossing it today, but I can imagine when it's going full force it would be a tricky crossing. Anyway, not today. That's quite pretty, really. Well, we're not too far from the road again. I can see some cars up at the top there. Now, in Wainwright's book he talks about purveyors of ice cream up there, so let's see what is being sold. He also mentions that the ruins up there are the former Isle of Skye Hotel. Don't look to be much left of the building now. Well, we're at the road now. It didn't take us very long to get down from Black Hill because it's kind of paved all the way, but here you get a good view back up to Black Hill and the route. Now let's see if there's ice creams to be had. Well, after a short road section we now get back on the track and head towards Wessenden. Many people look, but only a few see. Certainly returning via the Pennine Way this way, the scenery is very different. It's very green. Right ahead I can see Pewley Hill again as we look down the Wessenden Valley. It's much nicer now. It's stopped raining, a bit of sunshine and a lovely view. Well, here we are now down at the bottom by Wessenden Reservoir. Here we have a footpath sign, and we'll be following the bridleway down to the left for a little while before we start heading back over to the moor and heading back to Standedge. Well, I think that's Wessenden Lodge, and in Wainwright's day refreshments, meals were available there, but that must have been in days gone by. I think on the opposite bank there I think I can see some rhododendrons. Not sure why they've been planted, whether they were to stabilise that bank or not. Not sure it's worked, because it certainly looks like there's been some collapses there. Well, we leave the track we've just come down from and we're going to head down into the valley and up the other side. Imagine doing that on a full belly if you just had a meal at Wessenden Lodge. Now for the climb. Right, having climbed to the top now, we're rewarded with views back across to Wessenden Lodge and the valley that we've just come down. And as we turn the camera around, take a view looking down the valley towards Marsden. Well, we leave the green valleys and cloughs behind now, and we're back to moorland as we head back down to Black Moss Reservoir where we started. So hopefully we'll have finished all our ascent shortly. It'll be all downhill. Well, here we are again at Black Moss Reservoir. It's trying to rain again. It's been trying to rain on and off for a while now. It does look rather grey. Well, here we are where both the paths merge. Well, it's a shame about the weather today, because I think that was a pretty good walk. 2 different routes to Black Hill using the old and new Pennine Ways. One which was almost exclusively moorland, and this one, the new route, is a bit of a mixture, a bit of moorland, a bit of green valley, a few more ups and downs. If you were to ask me which one I prefer, I'm not entirely sure. I'm kind of attracted to the route to Black Hill over moorland, and if it wasn't for the heavy rain, getting caught in it and getting a bit lost in the boggy approach to Black Hill, if I could find a better way through that, that might be my favourite. Anyway, it's starting to rain again now, quite heavily, so not far from the car, so I'll be glad when I get back.